Hello everybody, Steve Griffiths here, developer of the MTPredictor software program. In today's MTPredictor video, I'd like to have a look at a lovely setup that unfolded on one of the Indian markets we follow, which is on the Nifty. But first, as usual, I'd like to look at our risk disclaimer and remind you that all examples in these videos should be considered as hypothetical. No trades are actually taken, they're just shown for illustration and training purposes only. Remind you there's a risk of loss in trading and investing. Put another way, all professional traders know and understand that losses can and will and do unfold. It's always important to understand that you have to accept losing trades. Right, let's move over and have a look at the Nifty that unfolded today, which is August the 16th. And in particular, I'd like to look at this TS3 W3 sell setup here. You can see on initial view, this is actually on a black MTP trend, therefore indicates the market is in the process of making a reversal, so would be a good potential setup to take. Let's also go out to the higher time frame chart. We always like to look at the higher time frame chart, and you'll notice that the previous high here was making pretty much a double top with this last high here. If I put a high tag on here, you can see it's almost a double top, so that indicated the large trend would be down as well. So let's now go back to our 3-minute chart and see how we might well manage this. Also, from standard technical analysis, you can see we actually had a gap down here first thing. The market then rallied up and actually what's called closed the gap. So I put my cursor on, you can see this high here went back to just about the level of those bars there, so effectively closed this gap here. So that's standard technical analysis as well, so that means that's in an area of where a high may well unfold. So it's good when MTPredictor analysis coincides with our standard technical analysis as well. So let's right mouse click, place our analysis on the red cell bar from here, and you can see we use position sizing to keep our initial risk small under control, and this would take you into a short trade. And actually the target was way down here. I mean, if the market had actually reached its target, it would have been an absolutely massive 27R profit, so that would have been absolutely huge. Remember, we look at profits not just in rupees, but in relation to the initial risk. In other words, as a ratio of the initial risk. This is what we call R units. So how could you have managed this as the market started to decline down here later in the day? Obviously, it didn't reach the low here, but were there any areas where you may well anticipate potential support, particularly as you're nearing the end of the day? With as usual, we go back to the higher time frame chart. Remember, higher time frames are time frames between 3 and 5 time frames higher. So if you're looking at a 3-minute chart as we are here, you'd go out to the 15-minute chart. If you're looking at, say, 15-minute charts, you'd go out to the hourly. If you're looking at daily, you'd go out to the weekly. So as the market was progressing down, remember these are on the chart in advance, so I'm just going to use our training mode. If I jump back to around about here somewhere, this is where the sell setup was on the 3-minute chart. Should have gone back to the last pivot low, which was here. Right mouse click, DP. This would have given you an area of potential support, but the important thing is this would have been on the chart in advance, even before the market even got there. You can see that. So if I turn training mode off, you can see the Nifty actually declined down at this level, started to rally back up, and actually printed a potential long trade. So how could that have helped you manage your position on the shorter time frame chart? Well, as the market was coming down into, see here you can see your 15-minute support zone, so there it is there. So as the market was starting to come down into the support zone, i.e. about here somewhere, so perhaps if we use training mode again, we'll jump back to here somewhere. As it started to come down to this level, you can see you're actually sitting on about 16R profit. So the profit was 16 times greater than the initial risk. Now this is an absolute massive profit, and the kind of profit you want to kind of protect. So what you could have done, and one strategy we do suggest, is as you're approaching towards the end of the day and you're at higher time frame support, start to trail just one tick above the bar's high. So that would be placing a stop just above here. Lock in 11R profit. You go forward 1 bar, bring your stop down to just 1 tick above that bar, which should have been there. Move forward another bar, and now it's gone down a bit further. It should have gone down to there. Move forward 1 bar. Oops, missed on the mouse. move forward one bar, and there you'd have been stopped out. So you'd have been stopped out at higher time frame support, but also you'd have been stopped out at a profit of approximately 16R or 16 times the initial risk. Now I don't suggest you do this all the time, but when you're nearing the end of the day, i.e. time is running out on your day trade, and you're on a very large profit and you're at higher time frame support or resistance support in this case, then trailing at the 1 bar high or low seems to make sense. It really does make sense to try and lock this in. And obviously if we now turn training mode off, you can see this would have actually come in pretty much towards the low of the day as well, so it would have been the best place to come out. If you hadn't have done this and held into the close, you'd have still locked in approximately 10R or 9.8 or 9.9R, 9.8R there, so that would have been a very good trade as well. But can you see how by trading at the 1 bar high, that would actually have managed to lock in an even greater profit. So a very, very good day for MTPredictor yesterday. Oh, sorry, today, which was the 16th of August, on the 3-minute Nifty, where we had a TS3 wave 3 sell on the coming in pretty much or pretty close to the high of the day there. Had a lovely short trade, holding it down into the higher time frame support down here, where a lovely trade would be available as well. The Bank Nifty, if I go over to that, also had a W3 sell set up there, but because the MTP trend was blue at this stage, it probably wouldn't have been one to consider. However, if we come over to the towards the low here, which obviously is the same kind of time as this was coming in, there was actually a VS setup coming in at when our MTP trend had gone black. And if I go out to the higher time frame support, did exactly the same there. If I'll place the DP on, you can see that was at higher time frame support. So if you'd been following both of these markets, you could well have decided that actually I'm going to now go long the Bank Nifty on this rally up here. And obviously it didn't reach the target because you didn't have long left in the day, but that would have been another 2 or almost 3R profit there as well. But also if you're looking at these side by side, having this setup, this buy setup coming in here on the Bank Nifty would have given you confidence that you wanted to start to protect your short trade on the Nifty as well. Can you see how using them basically both sort of side by side, if you wish, if I drag the charts side by side, as this came down to here for this long setup, you have confidence that you want to be protecting your short trade there. So a good example of some lovely trades on, or a lovely trade on the Nifty yesterday, and showing how you could have managed it using the higher time frame support and resistance, in this case support, and also how the Bank Nifty there, again coming in at 15-minute DP support, would have helped nail the low there as well. So some good examples of using MTPredictor on the Indian markets, on the Bank Nifty, and in particular this lovely short trade we had here on the Nifty, which was today, August the 16th.